Where's my full screen? Okay, so welcome to World of Retro Computing 2024 Expo. Our first guest for the show, Eric and Joe. Eric is the project maintainer of the BlueSCSI device, which a lot of you do have. I know you guys have it. And then Joe's Computer Museum. He works a little bit with Eric on the BlueSCSI project, but he also is going to tell us about some of his personal projects that aren't part of the BlueSCSI project. So Eric, can I start with you? You can just let our audience know what you're doing, what the card is, what it does, and then I'll switch over to Joe and let him to describe what he's doing, and then we'll go more in depth after that.
Sounds good. Yeah, my name's Eric Helgeson, and like I said, I'm the BlueSCSI project maintainer, and I've been doing that for it's been a little over 4 years now. Got into retro computing only probably about 5 or 6 years ago, so I'm kind of new as to some people in this retro community. But yeah, what really BlueSCSI is a low cost, open source, easy to use SCSI emulator, and we emulate hard drives, Wi-Fi, CDs, tapes, pretty much anything that is SCSI. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, and Joe, what's going on with you?
Hi, everybody at work. How y'all doing?
Woo!
Doing good? Great. My name is Joe Strosnider. I run a little thing on the interwebs called Joe's Computer Museum. I've been a retro computing enthusiast since retro computers were new back in 1988, basically. My short version of my story is I got back into retro computers more full-time around 2016 or so, acquired a computer that had some broken parts, and decided to reverse engineer and rebuild those parts. And then it's all been downhill from there. I jumped on the BlueSCSI reseller program, so I'm one of the resellers for BlueSCSI. I also do Pico Gus. I have a whole bunch of my other products as well, and I like to call myself the Amazon of retro computing. If you're the person who wants to make something but you don't want to worry about all the details of getting it out into the world, come talk to me and I help you make that happen.
Okay, and so can you tell me, you guys are together on the screen, so our audience may not know why you guys are together on the screen. So how did you meet? Where did the business relationship start? Do you guys still like each other? Are you here on your own free will?
No, it was back in the day. I mean, so I built BlueSCSI because I needed something to put in all these Macs. You can see I'm a Mac guy, vintage Mac guy, so you can see all those Macs. If I was going to spend $120 for each SCSI device I wanted to put on there, that's a lot of money. So built the first BlueSCSI V1. Joe actually did a video of it early on, which kind of went viral, and me and another guy, Tom, started trying to build these as fast as we could. And then I don't know if it was Joe that reached out to me or I reached out to Joe. I was like, hey, do you want to help build these things? And said, yeah, let's do it. So he's been really, one of the early sellers and early adopters and early promoters. So it's been great. And I actually just met him for the first time in person at VCF Midwest last weekend. So that was great.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, that's neat. We actually have a lot of guys from VCF, and they were happy that this year that I was holding the work show on the opposite weekend, or not on the same weekend as VCF, because we actually have many guys up here from Ontario that go down to the VCF. So they were happy. We got lots of VCF t-shirt people that are walking around at the show. Yeah. So Joe, I see that I'm looking at your background, and
yeah,
and it looks like it's for real.
It is. It's very much yeah. It's
okay. All right. So tell me a bit about like what's going on back there.
Sure. Right now it's in a state of transition because, as I showed before, I blew a hole through the wall and expanded into the old living room next door because business operations, just regular, selling stuff on the internet, and my IT side job have gotten to the point where I need space, but basically these were just my shelves that I had back here to hold my Macs. This was my Mac shelf, and that one back there is my PC shelf, and the one on the other side holds some random garbage. And there's even shelves over here and shelves back over here and all of that stuff. And I've got Macs, PCs, Amigas, Commodores, Ataris, K-Pros, my own self-built single board computer, enough Apple IIs and Macs to like choke many horses. It's just kind of my passion. So most of the space is just collecting space to keep it somewhat organized. So if I need to get one off the shelf and use it, or in many cases get one off the shelf and have it as a reference for testing or building something, it's just there and accessible.
So one of the things that I struggle with when I named this show, I called it World of Retro Computing. Retro and vintage have two different meanings, right? So but vintage, if we don't have retro guys like you making retro items for the vintage computers, none of us have computers that are working. So I appreciate your work on that kind of thing. Eric, what was your first computer when you were a kid?
Well, it was actually, let's see, it's that Mac Plus is behind my name though, but that Mac Plus, my father was a farmer, and we grew up on a farm, and but he did do accounting too, and so he kind of got in early on the personal computer or home computer, and we got a Mac Plus, and I played in HyperCard a lot, and I live very rural. I'm from Minnesota and still am in Minnesota, and there weren't a lot of software developers or anyone to ask, how to do this stuff. So I just tinkered around myself, and just kind of was on the kind of Apple bandwagon all through my high school career, and kind of started tinkering with programming and development, and that led into my career now as my day job as a software developer. So.
Nice. Well, that's really cool that you got your original computer. I think mine was a ZX81. That was my first one. I still have it at home. Joe, can you tell us about your first one? Do you have it still, and what was it?
Yes and no. So two questions there. My first computer was a TRS-80 Model 1, absolute base level. My dad got it as a trade from a coworker for fixing a vehicle or some weird thing like that. He worked in auto parts and whatever. But got that TRS-80. I was never allowed to play with it when I was younger until much later, and then dug it out of the closet, found that despite only being 8 years old, it was broken and falling apart and had to fix it. This was back in 1991 or 92, and repaired that, got it working. Accidentally broke it again, and in my stupid lack of wisdom, it went in trash can and disappeared. But a few years ago, I reacquired pretty much that exact same setup again. So it's cool to have that. Of course, my first love has been and always be the venerable and the forever Apple II. Absolutely. Apple II forever, best computer ever made. Anybody there? I love all you in the background that you're watching me, but if the Apple II is not your favorite, you're incorrect. So yeah.
Oh boy, I don't know. We got a pretty mixed crowd here, so I think you're okay. If you were at the world of Commodore, that would be an issue. Here,
I think there would be pitchforks and torches, and I would be marched out the door. But yeah.
Yeah. So Eric, can you tell the audience, and this will be on the Warp YouTube channel and so that. So why would someone need a BlueSCSI device? Let them know sort of in non-technical terms of how it's going to help them with their vintage computer.
Yeah. So you pick up your first vintage computer and it has a SCSI device, SCSI hard drive in it, and I don't know, I'd say more than 50% that drive's going to be locked up or not power on, or something's wrong with it, or it's just you have trouble getting files to and from that vintage computer, even if the hard drive does spin up. So BlueSCSI is really a modern solution that is cheap. You can build it yourself, or we can build it for you. You can just stick it right into your computer using an SD card. You can have 7 different devices on there. So you can have your hard drives, your CD images, connect to the Wi-Fi network and BBS like it's 1992, and just get more out of your vintage hardware.
Okay, and that's something that goes. It's a direct fit into the ports that are on the original
Yep.
computers.
So we have a few form factors, and Joe was showing one, but we have the 50 pin, so that's just the IDC connector. Then we have the teeny little DB25. You can just plug it right into the back of your computer. And then we also have a laptop version where it fits into like PowerBooks or something like that. And we also, I don't have it with me, but we have a Centronics version as well. So kind of, those are the 4 main form factors of the kind of speed of systems we're targeting. And that's anywhere from, it's a fast SCSI bus, so 10 megabit per second SCSI buses.
Okay, awesome. So Joe, you let me know that you had some of your own projects that you're on or that you're working on. What are a couple of the ones that maybe aren't BlueSCSI
Sure.
devices that you're working on?
Before I do that, I do want to touch on a couple things that Eric may have forgotten. One of the big ones is the Wi-Fi capability in the newest version of BlueSCSI. So we, and by we I mean Eric, because I'm not a programmer. I would make the computer catch fire somehow. But basically, the BlueSCSI team has designed a toolbox and a set of interfaces, APIs, to work with the PiPico with the W module on it to allow, what are we up to, 4 platforms now, 4 or 5, Eric, that allow these vintage / retro, however, whether it's a new old computer or a real old computer, it allows them to connect to Wi-Fi, to connect to the internet or a network and do magical things. It started with the Macintosh, but also we have Next that I think is supported or it's close to supported. I think we have IPC, and what's the 4th one? We're working on Sun as well, aren't we?
There's Amiga.
Amiga's the other one.
Unix. I think it's actually 8 we have now. I'd have to go look at all of them.
It's 8. So yeah, and then 2, of course, the SD card. Because you can just remove that SD card, you can take that off, put it on your PC, mount the disk image in a lot of 7-zip will open a lot of the disk images. It'll just open it. And you put files on it and put it back on the computer and it's there. So it makes it really easy to get files onto the computer. Mm-hmm. To get back to me and answer my question. So I make lots of silly little trinkets for lots of different computers. My focus is primarily at the Apple II and Apple III series and the Macintosh, but I do have some stuff for some other machines too. Lots of different things. Actually, today I was building little ROM replacements for the Apple III. Lots of Apple III bits and pieces. Keyboard encoders for the Apple II and Apple III. Titan board set that turns an Apple III into an Apple II. I can't really show it. I have a project over here that I just got working. The Diamond Trackstar, a clone of the Diamond Trackstar Plus, that allows your IBM PC, like an old 5150 or an XT, to be an Apple II. Lots and lots of cool things like that. And most of them are focused on 2 primary areas. One, like my keyboard encoders, are to replace the hard-to-find unobtainium stuff with easy-to-find inexpensive stuff. You go out and try to find a keyboard encoder for an Apple II, or even worse, for an Apple III, good luck. You're not going to find one unless you pull it from another working machine. And I am not going to have anybody out there making a working machine not work to make another non-work. It's silly, right, to do that. The other thing is to re-engineer or reproduce products that existed at the time period that are now unobtainium that people really want to have. The Pico Gus, for example, a lot of you out there probably know what that is. That is the PiPico-based Gravis ultrasound card that does the Gravis ultrasound and the Sound Blaster and the Tandy 3 Sound MPU 401. That is like $50 instead of going out and trying to find a real Gus out on eBay for $300 to $500. That's dumb. get a Pico, Gus, and save all of that money and have extra functions. That's kind of what I focus on.
Okay. So I know that there are a lot of people out there who are who want to stick with the original devices. They're like that's to them it's something that they don't want to do because it's either FPGA that they think is just that's evil. So how do you bridge that gap to people who want to stay original, but they kind of have to go with the device, something that you're making. How do you what do you tell them that it's okay that you're not getting rid of the the originality of the piece? I would say that maybe okay, your computer gets to run now, so that's good. But
Yes.
what would you tell people?
In many cases, it's a factor of unobtainium, right? The Diamond Trackstar right now that I'm working on is a great example of this. It has 2 chips on it that you can only get as new old stock and in like quantities of 20. And that's it. And that's all that exists in the world anymore, unless you like hunt and hunt and hunt. And then these parts get more and more expensive. So if I can engineer a solution that replaces a single chip on an otherwise, like for example, like this board, if I can replace a single chip with a slightly modern variant of that chip, or using a microcontroller to emulate that function but keep the rest of the machine the same, that allows us to get that cost down and have the thing available, right? So, I wanted this thing since I was a kid, since I was 8 years old, but I can't find it. They're $1,000 on the internet. Da, 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 da. Well, how about we get you 99% of the way there? And yeah, there's going to be a couple of how can we say, compromises, but those compromises have to be made in order for the thing to exist. Other things too, and I think that Eric can attest to this. The Pi Pico, for example, is incredibly affordable and insanely powerful. So in the case of a product where you're trying to completely emulate something else that is just physically different, like it's not like we're going to go out and make a hard drive, right? That's not a thing that's going to happen. And what are we going to do? Like reverse engineer a SAS hard drive or an NVMe PCI bus to scale it down to make it no. It's a microcontroller and an SD card. It is way more affordable. It's easy to use, and it perfectly emulates that functionality. So, I mean, it's a thing. Yeah, you're not going to be always original in many cases, but in some cases you don't have choice. You got to do it a certain way to make it happen.
So, Eric, you were saying that you were at VCF last week. I understand that Jerry Ellsworth was there. So yeah, I've had her as a guest on our shows, and she wasn't available this year, and I think it was because you guys were, I don't know, you tied her up or something. I don't know.
We stole her.
Yeah. So, Eric, did you get to meet her? Any questions to her? Did you get?
Oh, no, actually, I'll say, I didn't have a table this year at VCF Midwest, and because I wanted to see more of the show and meet more people, but I still felt like I missed a third of the show, even though I was there for 3 days and talking to, hundreds of people. So, no, unfortunately, I didn't get to meet her.
Okay. Well, okay. Was there someone there that say was influential to making the BlueSCSI, or is a big part of BlueSCSI that?
Oh yeah, Joe was there, so that was awesome. Actually, four of our sellers were there. So Tom Barber, Joe, myself, Jay Graham. He's big in the Apple II area.
Juicy Crumb.
And Juicy Crumb they actually came from Australia. They have their own product as well. They actually make a board that you can put in like an iMac and reuse its screen. So that's kind of cool. So, but they also sell BlueSCSI. So it's great to meet them, and they flew all the way over from Australia. Ian, I met him. We talk a lot about developing on the Pico, so that was awesome to kind of pick his brain.
Ian Scott, the developer of the Pico, Gus, in case people didn't know.
Yeah, and then it was just tons of people, and I mean, the Pico is kind of the de facto cheap chip that everyone's using now to build things on. So it's really awesome to kind of be able to pick these developers' brains and how they're using it, how we're using it, and kind of get some ideas.
Okay, cool. Joe, is your Joe's Computer Museum, do you have like a YouTube channel as well, or that's just the
Yeah.
website that you sell from?
Yeah, so my re-emergence into retro and vintage computing actually started with the YouTube channel in late 2016, early 2017, and that's just Joe's Computer Museum on YouTube. You can just hit that up and find it, and a lot of videos on there. It never like got insanely super popular, but I still pop in from time to time and do a live stream or something like that. But yes, I do also have my website, jcm-1.com. Which you can go to, and that has links to my social media and stuff if you want to follow me and see what I'm doing. It also it has the web store on there if you want to look at all the cool stuff that's available.
Okay, and Eric, I know that one of the guests here at the show, we were talking, and he was extremely impressed, where he had a question about the installation of one of your BlueSCSI devices. And it turned out that it was an actual error in the original computer that was not allowing it to work properly, and that he got a response from you, like not someone else, or waiting for months or anything. And that's really cool, because when you've got these devices, a lot of people kind of disappear, and then you've got new devices that you don't know how to work, you don't know who to ask. And so that's shout outs to you that you're actually responding one-on-one like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big things, like you were saying, is that someone reverse engineers something, puts it on GitHub, and then says, there you go. And it's like, well, that's great, but now you need to order it yourself and source the chips yourself and assemble it yourself and find bugs yourself. We have I think that's one of the biggest things about BlueSCSI is that it's a community of people. I know a lot about Macintosh. Joe knows a lot about Macintosh and Apple 2 and 3 and stuff like that. And we have people from all over, in Amiga, Atari, anything that has SCSI in it. We have a Discord with over 2,000 people on there just chatting about computers. So if I don't know how to configure Fastlane SCSI card for something, someone else will. So and that's the other thing I wanted too, is that this is all kind of our hobby, and all of us are here to kind of have fun and be entertained by our retro computers. We don't want to be yelled at or scorned for asking a stupid question, because sometimes people come on and they've maybe never even seen a SCSI device before, and they don't understand how it works, or they don't understand it's not hot pluggable like USB or something like that. So it's like,
please don't hot plug your SCSI devices. Please,
no,
please don't.
there are hot pluggable SCSI devices. BlueSCSI is not one of them. But yeah, it's just, helping people is kind of what we're here to do, and building cool things for people to use is what we're here to do. So yeah, it's just, I want to treat others how I'd want to be treated if I'm coming into the retro community trying to figure something out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it is a big community thing here. I had a fellow that had a 1701 monitor. That's a Commodore monitor. And the cord was getting it was fraying, like the plastic was deteriorating. So he brought it into the show today, and he asked if maybe someone had an extra cord and it could help him out. So we have a vendor who is actually doing an on-site repair of I'm not sure what, maybe an Apple something, and I asked, what, while you got the soldering iron on, can you put this cord on for them? So instead of just patching it, they actually opened up the 1701, got the cord right into the gut, soldered it together, and and now he's off with a nice new cord and loving it. So that's sort of the community that you're talking about, and it's really awesome. So I think I'd like to open it up to the audience if they have some questions for either of you. While that's happening, I'm going to see if I can get sort of a floor cam going to just show you guys a little bit about the other side of that way. That's where the show is. So I'm going to work on that while the questions are being asked of you guys. So I'll quit. Okay. So come on here. All right, we got a good question. Got a good question for Joe.
Get cozy. Come on in.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad.
Closer to the moment.
Not too
Yeah,
bad.
there.
I was just wondering, are you east of Kingston?
I can
Is your
barely.
location east of Kingston? East of Kingston.
She's wondering if you're east of Kingston, Ontario, or where you're
Well,
located.
The best thing I can tell you is that I am in a little town called Mount Vernon, Ohio, which is in the middle of nowhere. So you can look that up, and Google will tell you the answer because I don't know.
Because I looked up at Joe's museum, and there is one east of Kingston, by
Okay.
just south of Carlton, and our cottage is in Kingston. So I would say,
okay.
hey man, I could come over. But no, okay, so you're in Ohio.
Yep,
All right,
I am in the
travel to
wonderful
Ohio.
and disgusting United States. Yes.
Great. Okay, you never know. I might see you.
All right, no, you never know. You never know. Actually, you know what? You got a question, don't you? Okay, sure. All right, so here's here's the one for Eric, and Eric and you have been talking. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go see about setting up the floor cam, and you guys can talk a little bit.
Sounds good.
Right close to your mouth.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Okay. I had bought a BlueSCSI back probably in June, and with the your Ethernet adapter, Joe, for my Macintosh Plus. And Eric, you helped me walk me through the process of setting up with my Mac Plus, and it's been great. Thank you again for that. I haven't got the Bluetooth working yet, but that's the next thing I'm doing. But I wanted to know, I got the external BlueSCSI. Is there an internal model for the Macintosh Plus? Because it doesn't have an internal hard drive. So I'm just wondering if that exists.
Well,
You hang on for about 2
Yeah.
or 3 seconds. I'll let Eric talk for a minute because I got something magical for you. Stand by.
yes. But as you mentioned, the Mac Plus does not have an internal BlueSCSI. But yes, of course, we do have the 50-pin adapter for it. And Joe made something pretty cool.
Yes.
that he's
So,
gonna show you.
as we know, the Macintosh Plus does not have an actual internal 50-pin port. But a wonderful friend in our little Macintosh community, his name is John, but he goes by Big Bad Biologists, Big Bad Bench on YouTube, had this crazy idea of making this little carrier board. He could remove the SCSI chip from his Plus, solder this in, and then have a 50-pin connector to do exactly that, to put something inside the machine. Well, I had this crazy idea. Do you remember back in the day when you got those original Mac 128Ks and you wanted to upgrade it to a Plus? You get a little board with a thing called a Killy clip, and it would fit over the CPU and it would convert it to a Plus. Well, I made a little thing like that, but for the SCSI port. So basically, what this does is this little thing right here. It's a little Killy clip. It's got little pins, and it clips over the SCSI chip on the back of the Plus logic board. And then you feed this up through, and then you have a 50-pin connector doodle. You can plug your internal BlueSCSI device in there, and it's completely contained within the machine, and you don't have to modify anything. There's no soldering or anything. It just goes clip, plug, done. So that kind of sort of answers that question, I guess.
Where would you mount this inside? Where would it mount it?
Yeah. So there's a little extra thing you can get. The BlueSCSI is pretty stable. You can kind of just use some double side tape and stick it in there on top of the hard or the floppy cage if you want. But our one of our other wonderful friends in the community, Javier Rivera, made this cool little bracket. And this bracket will actually sit on top of that cage and clip in place with tension and friction. And then you can mount your BlueSCSI on top of it like this. Actually, I think it goes this way. But it mounts on top of it like that, and then that plugs in, and it keeps it all stable in place. It doesn't rattle around. It just goes boop, sticks right in place.
Nice. That's looking really good.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've got the all right, so I've got the floor. I got the floor cam worked. It's working. So I'm gonna bring it up. Add to Zoom. Okay, so oh. Okay, I'm gonna try to not do that. So if I can mute the microphone of the floor cam. Okay, now I will turn it over to Trina. Trina's going to come here and she'll just sort of, actually, she has a question, but I'm going to walk around the show so that you guys can see sort of what we got going on at the show. All right?
Cool. Sounds good.
Hey, Joe.
So,
Hi, Trina.
Hi. So,
I'm just going full screen.
Okay.
Where's full screen?
so you said you were the Amazon of the retro community.
Yes, but not evil, hopefully.
Do you have Prime shipping for us regular buyers?
Yeah, if you want to pay me $99 a year, I'll give you free shipping, sure.
Okay. So right now we're looking at the that's the gaming, like where they have all the old PCs set up.
Awesome sauce.
And that gentleman might be buying some motherboards from me. So yay!
Yes, buy motherboards from Trina. Trina is awesome. Joe said so.
So that's all the folks playing the retro games. They have StarCraft, Wake, Doom,
Cool.
you name it.
So there's got an actual like LAN party stuff going on there. That's great.
Yeah, they got yeah. That's what I've been doing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going back. You guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So look at some of these beauties. I was overlooking at it earlier before the show opened up.
Classic K5. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I got some classic CRT monitors. And then we were talking. They said we got tired and just started bringing in the less heavy monitors. Hi.
We're waving at them. We promise. You can't see us, but we're waving.
We're waving. There's the free table that was full earlier.
Nice.
And then we have, I don't know. I've been busy at my table, so I don't really know what the tables are.
We just got rickrolled.
Mhm.
Work.
We got some Commodore
Outdoor
stuff going on.
64.
Got some more Commodore. There's a lot of Commodore stuff here. So
Where's the Apple II? Shh.
I didn't bring it with me this year. I got to get it up and running. Oh, and by the way, this is the area that I bought those tables from last year. Is where this stuff is all set up.
So everybody in the crowd, make her buy another table. We want to see it. Make that happen.
Make that up. I've already suggested I'm going to buy whatever tables are there this year. So
Cool.
speaking of her earlier, some more Commodore stuff.
Is that a Timex there? Neat.
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
That's like an MSX there or something. Or is that a +4? It's hard to see.
Argentina computers.
That's a Nintendo shirt.
Oh, okay.
They're all Argentina computers.
Oh, they're all Argentina computers.
Oh, cool.
So that must be the power cable they soldered on earlier.
Ooh, look at that. I don't know what that is, but it's beautiful.
Sorry, what is that? Nice.
Ooh, it's a Horizon.
I saw it when it came in. I'm like, ooh, that's pretty old.
Apple II.
Apple.
Apple II forever. Yes.
There you go.
That's a clone, but that's okay.
Joe.
We'll live with that.
It's close enough.
Yes. Commodore. Oh, Commodore phone. Commodore phone spotted. Spotted Commodore phone. Trini, you're gonna like acquire that Commodore phone and bring it back to the United States for me, right?
I totally can do that. Yeah. I didn't even notice it. I might go talk to him after and be like, hey, are you selling that? What do we got? Oh yeah, this is
Little room
the
games.
little room games. Yeah.
They
Hi,
can't see us.
guys.
Oh yeah, they can.
No,
They
I
can
don't.
see us.
Oh,
And this gentleman sells cookies and cookie cutters
Oh my
and
gosh.
classic computer shapes.
Cookies. I'm gonna go out and
I
get
know, right?
cookies. I should go get cookies.
Some
There's a
more.
Mac there. Bits and pieces. Yes.
And then we got some Atari stuff for sale.
Another Apple II clone.
Oh, and there's some,
Cocos. Yeah, Cocos.
those
Atari.
computers are for sale.
More
Oh,
Cocos.
and this is my, so Stacy drove me, that's her setup.
Hi, Stacy.
Oh, come on, Dana, make some sales, because that's my
3,500.
I-
Hi, I'm
yeah,
Joe.
It's a prototype.
I'm Joe, and I'm now officially jealous of whoever owns that 3,500.
That's a prototype that she got when she worked there. So, and this is a TV person. Again, I've been busy.
Live
I-
transmitting too. Cool.
Yeah, we also have some arcade machines. This is new. Do you want me to buy
Dragon's
it in
Lair,
this
yes. Yes.
You want me to buy it in Miss Pac-Man for $300, Joe?
Yeah, and spend like $18,000 shipping it here.
Hey, look,
Sure.
this is my table.
Yay! Look at that.
That's the stuff all the stuff with the papers are for sale for those who, yeah.
So, what's running
That's
that
one of
Power
the-
Macintosh? What kind of storage is in that?
Right now it's got a BlueSCSI that's mine. So right now, none.
Oh, okay. I have that exact same machine, or very close to 7,300. Yeah. Ooh, we have a firmware update for your BlueSCSI that'll fix problems if you have problems with that, Trina. By the way. Anyway, continue.
I haven't had any issues with it, so we're good.
Ooh,
And then we got some
SX64.
Yeah, we got some Atari stuff here in Commodore.
Nice.
And I don't know what's going on here because the guy kind of came in later and I haven't had a chance to get over. But there's
Software
a bunch of
pile, it looks like, maybe. A Vectrex! Yes! Yes! Yeah. Yes. More than one? Nope, just one. I was gonna say more than one. Game
one
console.
I can see if it's for sale. Yeah. Whoa.
So, is there anybody there from the U.S. that can smuggle some of this cool stuff back for me?
Yes, there is. Yeah.
car.
I'll talk to him for you.
Ooh, is this a new game?
I don't know. I haven't really. I just talked to him about his tablecloth. That was as far as I got. More stuff in here.
Ah, professionals.
Yeah, I haven't been around.
SPIs. Yeah.
Joe, you know what it's like when you're at these events and are at the table. You have your own table. You don't get around that much. Hey, Stacy.
Yes.
That's Stacy, who I came down with.
Thank you for taking Trina to show. So Trina, have fun today. Appreciate.
Oh.
Octane, yes.
Octane,
Those
yeah,
things are
right.
so pretty. Ooh, look at that big chonker of a machine.
I know, right? I saw that being wheeled in this morning.
Yeah, it's like, what do you need to get this in here? A small crane. It's fine.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, he fortunately had a hand truck, so he's able to kind of like do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of people's butts. Oh,
Old Mac,
Apple
iMac
stuff.
there.
Yeah. Oh, they're back. Okay, good. This is an auction, and then we have RetroRewind.ca.
Yeah.
They have the bar, so you can go down, get a computer, and order a rum and coke at the same time.
A computer and get absolutely smashed. Yes.
And there's Frank of Retro Rewind.
Oh. Talk to him.
This is more auction stuff here that they're showing up.
Cute.
And there's the bathrooms.
Go in there.
I'll
Sure.
just point out everything. Yeah.
There's the floor. There's the ceiling. Hey, look, there's
Yeah,
air.
and- oh, look at that. There we are. Hi, everyone. There you go.
All right. Okay, so I didn't have the mic on, so I'm not sure. I think Trina was sort of commentating on what was going on. So that gives you guys an idea of what we do here. Very similar to the other computer shows around. We do have World of Commodore, which is in Toronto. That's an hour away from us. They're friends of this show. They actually have a table. The TPUG group, that's Toronto Pet Users Group, and they're the longest running user group in the world. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So any questions that you guys have about what we've got going on, or
What's the baseline airspeed of an unladen swallow?
10.
10.
Ah! Okay. Nerd jokes. No, I think the show's cool. I love that you guys have a local community there where you can get together, hang out at least once a year, and show off all the cool stuff you got. So,
It's always good to see all that stuff being used, and people who have never been exposed to some of those computers can kind of play on them and see what they were and talk to people.
I also like the fact that I saw some youngsters there this year. I mean, it's too many old gray-haired guys. Let's get some of the younger folks in there and interested in this old stuff. It's like getting your kids interested in old vintage cars. Let's get them interested in vintage computers too.
Yeah, no, we have a really big young audience. That's our land setup is a really big draw for the kids. And we're very hands-on here, so nothing is behind glass. Everything is playable. You can not bang around on it, but you know what I mean. Bang around on the computers. Yeah, it's cool. I'm glad you guys were able to see that. And yeah, maybe in the future, then if travel plans work out, then we can have you both up here. I don't call this show an annual because that allows me to not do it annually. So I just go by year. But I really appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you, Trina, for setting up this talk with you guys. Yeah, it's been great. I appreciate the time and effort you put into what you're doing to keep the computers alive. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Thank you for having us on. It's been super fun. And thank you to all the people out there in the crowd that put up with me being weird for an hour. Appreciate that. And remember, retro compute and Apple II forever.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Round of applause for our guests. Okay, so I will talk to you both later. Again, thank you very much for coming on. I'll just I'll cut the feed. I'll just cut it off completely, and you guys will be out in the air somewhere. You're not here anymore.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Thanks a lot. Okay, let's see here. Let's take that. Just go.
We're still live. There we go. Now we're done. We're
still recording.
Oh. Bye. Hi, everybody. It's our stream now.
All right. See ya.
Bye.